Well, welcome back to week 3 of the book of Matthew. And what's really cool today is we're going to talk about treasure and pearls, and we're talking about the parables of the kingdom in Matthew chapter 13. Steve, would you like to give us an overview?
Cool. So we've been talking about how Matthew kind of gathers the teaching of Jesus in 5 different blocks.
Yep.
So we had Sermon on the Mount about kind of the radical kingdom. We've had mission in chapter 10. Chapter 13 is parables of the kingdom.
Right.
Chapter 18, we're going to next week about the church. Chapter 24,
right.
25 about the future. The interesting thing, often in a Western context, we put our points and we put the conclusion at the end.
Yep.
But sometimes in Jewish thinking, they put their main point in the middle. So things kind of work into it and then come out of it. So this Matthew 13 in the middle of the book, Jesus has gathered together these stories about the kingdom.
Wow.
And he's like, I'm not going to give you a whole lot of context. I'm just going to drop these stories. And he tells like 7 stories. And at the end he says, someone who's been instructed in these, it just says they'll be like someone who just brings out of a treasure chest new as well as old things. And it's like bombs will keep going off.
Wow.
Like, man, if the kingdom is like that, then we should do this. If the kingdom's like that. And it's like, that's what he leaves with us, a bunch of stories.
Right, and they just keep unpacking.
Yeah.
And every time you read them, it's like you discover...
Oh, that's how the kingdom works.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like another
that's why this
gem.
happens. Yeah.
It's really cool. And that is just almost mind-blowing, isn't it? That the middle of Matthew, the book of Matthew, from Jewish thinking is like, it's almost like the pinnacle of the kingdom and where Jesus is trying to unpack it for us. And so what is really amazing is that Jesus teaches through these really down-to-earth stories.
Yes.
So down-to-earth, though, about soil, fields, harvesting pearls and treasure and mustard
Making
seed,
bread,
making
yeast and
bread
all
and
that kind of
yeast
stuff.
and these farming analogies, yeah.
Because I think one of the things that really kind of impresses me about this thing with Jesus is like he can teach everything about God through just everyday stuff. It's not real high concepts, abstract. It's like, you guys know how to make bread? Well, that's how the kingdom works. You guys plant plants, that's how the kingdom works.
Wow.
And it's like, man, there's something about the simplicity of just drawing out everyday life.
And often we try to make it so complicated and complex, don't we? But Jesus he brought it back to just stuff that was everyday life.
And is accessible. So
Yeah,
the truths of the kingdom are accessible.
Right.
And we will know them intuitively.
Yeah, it's powerful. And so Jesus, he uses 7 pictures to tell different aspects of the kingdom, and we just want to draw out 2 of those. So we just want to draw out. So the first one I want to talk about is the pearl of great price. The pearl of great price.
So there's a pair of these parables. So the treasure hidden in the field and the pearl of great price. And so Jesus just said this: when a man found it, he hid it again. Then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away, sold everything he had, and bought it. And some people are like, oh yeah, if you're going to take hold of the kingdom, like it's going to cost you everything. It's like real heavy.
Yeah.
But when you read this, it's like, no. Just joy, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that I get to take hold of this. Like, I gladly give everything if I can have this.
Yeah.
And that's part of the challenge is all these stories are like, do you actually see how amazing this kingdom thing is? This is what the revolution's about.
Yeah.
Something incredible. If you could see it, you would gladly give everything to be part of this.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I love that statement because, Steve's saying if you could see it, there'd be a joy in wanting to give everything, where I think there are some areas in all of our lives where we might hold back from God, and perhaps it's not because we're bad people, and it's not, but maybe we just aren't seeing, we haven't discovered the pearl. I know for myself, when I remember the moment where I sold everything, not literally, but figuratively, where I sold out to Jesus, and I was a teenager, and I had come from a broken home, and my heart was shattered, and I wasn't in a very good place. And I remember sitting down, and I was at this prayer meeting with my mum, and she said I was only allowed to take my Bible, and I had my Bible, and I had this moment where I was frustrated and hurting, and I said to God, speak to me if you're even there. And I opened up my Bible to Isaiah 49, and the chapter's amazing, but part of the chapter, in verse 8, it says, on the day of salvation, I will help you, I will come to you, and it's this amazing chapter that really, for me, it caught my heart because of what the kingdom was and
Yeah.
how God could use me. But interestingly, it wasn't the promise of a healed heart. It was the promise that God would use me as a light to a nation.
Awesome. Wow.
And so because of that, I could, even though I was still broken, I just sold everything in that moment. I was like, God, if this is you speaking, I'll give my whole life to this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that different parts of the kingdom grab different people. So for some people it is forgiveness. Others it's I can feel clean again. Others I got mission, I got purpose.
Yeah.
But some part, if you could see it, you go, I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's great joy
Yeah.
in that encountering and grabbing hold of the kingdom, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's great joy. What about hidden treasure? There's another parable in here about hidden treasure.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, you can read it like this is a big heavy thing, you got to give everything away, but the kind of grace is like you can just even stumble across this thing. People who aren't even looking just happen it, and they suddenly realize, oh my goodness, this is another reality.
Yeah.
And then also that, you know, you can go, oh yeah, he sold all he had, but it's like, and it's within your grasp. You could take hold of this. You could take hold of the most amazing thing right now.
Right. Wow, it's amazing, isn't it? It's very cool. And that's the thing, and I love that Jesus is unpacking all this through so everyday, down-to-earth stories. It's like when you're in the kitchen, you're cooking, or when you're in the garden doing something, like God can speak to you in that moment, and he can reveal truths of the kingdom, and you can take hold of that and apply it to your world. And it is about finding great joy in that space. It's incredible. So, a great question to ask in your e-groups is, what is it about the kingdom that's grabbed your heart? Like, what is it? We've gone on this journey through life, and we've discovered there's actually incredible joy. And yeah, there's stuff we've given up and there's stuff we've left behind, but man, we do it all over again because of what we've grabbed hold of. There's something about the kingdom that captures your heart. So maybe in your groups, why don't you talk about what is it about the kingdom that has grabbed your heart? And we look forward to seeing you next week.